So we did kind of combine questions where we could, just to cut down on the length. But yeah, hope you have like a coffee or beer or something, and get cozy. So yeah, it has been a seriously productive month for us across the board. I will kick things off with just a quick update on what we've been building behind the scenes. So we've been kind of following three different development tracks. We've had smart contracts development, back end development, and front end development. And we've made strong progress on all of those fronts. For the front end side, one of the main things, of course, is the front end bridge integration. We were able to do more testing on the Axelar bridge integration that is complete and on standby. We've communicated this to the Axelar team and the HBAR Foundation, and we expect Squid Router to go live on Saucerswap shortly. My expectation is that it will go live this month. So we'll see. Our integration is ready, and it seems like it's just around the corner. On the smart contract side, the main focus for us has been on an ERC20 wrapper integration, essentially. And what that will allow is ERC20 contracts to interact natively with Saucerswap's core smart contracts. This will require a code audit before we release it, but it's moving quickly. It's actually somewhat of a simple solution. It's pretty elegant, the way it works with the rest of our contracts. So we don't expect too many moving parts, but security is always top of mind for us. So we will do an audit before we ship it. We're also designing a new limit order system. This is still in the architecture stage. ERC20 is currently in the development stage, so that's taking priority. But the core functionality for limit orders is spec'd and ready to build. We think we came up with a pretty good system that should scale effectively. On the front end, as well as Axelar, we're completely kind of in the trenches now with this full site redesign and brand refresh. For those who don't know the goal here, we're trying to modernize the look of the UI and the platform, tighten the narrative, and position Saucerswap as the most trusted non-Ethereum DEX on the market. And to that end, the landing page is done. We're deep into the UI systems now. As you know, Saucerswap has quite a few pages and pages within pages. So we're in the trenches there. We're targeting mid-May for launch of the new site, and marketing will ramp up in advance. Speaking of marketing, we have also ramped up our content strategy. You may have noticed we have some more intentional alignment between marketing, partner messaging, and overall narrative. So if you've noticed the shift on X, that's by design. We've really been doubling down on that, so I hope that's been well received. That's not all we've been working on. There are also two major projects currently in motion behind the scenes that we can't talk about yet. One of those, we kind of put out a teaser on our X account. I think it was yesterday. But they are progressing fast. We will have one of them I'm really excited about. They're both pretty big projects though, and will have significant impact on our long-term growth. As always, we're building for the long term. It's been a little bit of a tumultuous market, some turbulence, but appreciate everyone showing up, asking some sharp questions. There's some really good content that we can discuss today, and overall keeping us focused. So let's get into it.
Thanks so much, Peter. So the first question for you is, can you provide an update on the Axelar and Layer 0 integrations? What is the current status, and when can users expect cross-chain swaps to go live on Saucerswap?
Yeah, as mentioned in the introduction, our Axelar integration is complete. It's on standby. It's been communicated to the relevant parties. We're currently waiting for the final steps. And once that is done, we'll have Squid Router directly integrated into Saucerswap in a dedicated on a dedicated page, which is the bridge page. So we're confident that will happen soon. As for layer 0, we're not as far forward with this. There's more to coordinate with other ecosystem partners on how to make sure we don't get liquidity fragmentation. It's a bit more complicated to navigate this one. There's nothing to announce concretely on the layer 0 side for now, but we do intend on supporting all avenues to bridge liquidity to Hedera on our front end if possible. That will start with Axelar and Squid very soon. And layer 0, the timeline is a little bit less clear, but we would like to have that integrated as well. So we expect Squid Router to be natively integrated into Saucerswap soon, likely this month. And just a quick note on the cross-chain swaps. This would not enable cross-chain swaps as kind of like the first pass. It would enable token-to-token bridging. So if you wanted to bridge, USDC from Ethereum to Hedera, you could do that, but it won't enable cross-chain swaps as kind of the first version.
Great. Thanks for that, Peter. So another question is, what's the long-term meta? Are we aiming for a DeFi engine that powers everything from RWAs to DAOs to AI native assets? What are your thoughts on that?
I love this question. It's one that we constantly ask ourselves. I think the long-term meta is about composability and optionality. So whether it's RWAs, DAOs, AI native coordination layers, entirely new financial primitives, it's my opinion that DeFi will be the back end of all of it. And our job is to build the infrastructure layer that powers those systems. So I think it's a mistake to chase every trend. We're careful not to do that. Our focus is on building core foundational DeFi infrastructure that can support modular extensions, regardless of what narrative takes the lead. As you know, especially in Web3, there's almost a new narrative every day. We want Saucerswap to be the execution engine for the next generation of programmable finance, no matter what form that takes. So overall, we're not in the business of reacting. We're focused on building the primitives that allow those trends to plug into something real.
Thanks for that. Very, very profound. So the next set of questions all fall within the topic of central exchange listings. So I'll just read them in rapid sequence. Overall, can you provide an update on the listing plans for Sauce? Are there any upcoming central exchange listings scheduled? Next one is, given Saucerswap's deep liquidity, rising ecosystem gravity, and sticky tokenomics, what's the holdup with listing Sauce on major central exchanges? The support for USDC transfers to the Hedera network by exchanges like Crypto.com, Binance, and Coinbase make them viable candidates for listing the Sauce token. Next one is, does the integration of the Coinbase on-ramp bring us one step closer to a Sauce token listing on Coinbase? And lastly, has the HBAR Foundation provided any support to Sauce in facilitating the listing of the Sauce token on Binance or Coinbase? Community would appreciate more transparency on the nature of the collaboration or any progress made so far. So it's a lot of questions, but that pretty much summarizes it for the central exchange listing questions.
Yeah, thanks for asking these questions. So yeah, this is probably the most asked question. We obviously get this a lot, both in the AMAs and on X and Discord, and rightfully so. I mean, it's an important topic. What I'll say is this: we are actively doing the work behind the scenes. That means a few things. Yes, that means applying to centralized exchanges and working with our partners. It also means generating momentum and building out the right on-chain infrastructure and ensuring everything is in place to meet the requirements of exchanges, especially tier one exchanges where the requirements are pretty high. SEX listings are not one-sided decisions. They require alignment across liquidity, compliance, strategic timing, exchange priorities. So the presence of things like the Coinbase on-ramp or the foundation support absolutely helps, and we are leveraging that, but it doesn't guarantee anything, and I don't want to say anything that sounds like it's guaranteeing anything. Overall, we just don't want to prematurely announce or speculate at listings just to generate hype. When something's locked, you'll hear it directly from us. And in the meantime, we'll keep building and shipping and earning that exposure that leads to things like centralized exchange listings the right way. So I know it's probably not the answer that you want to hear. I wish I could just say, hey, we're getting listed on, X exchange tomorrow. But it's not really how it works. So just want to be transparent.
Great. Thanks for that, Peter. Next question is, how does the team see the role of Sauce token evolving as Saucerswap expands cross-chain?
When Saucerswap scales to support cross-chain infrastructure, Sauce will continue to serve protocols coordination and governance token. So its role is to anchor community participation, steer the protocol, especially in terms of alignment of incentives, and serve as the mechanism through which users do that. So basically, governance token. We're not trying to mirror a one-size-fits-all model across every chain. Instead, our focus is on building cross-chain systems that are consistent in principles while allowing each deployment to remain lightweight and efficient. Obviously, this is kind of all in the future right now. We are not a cross-chain or multi-chain deployment. We're just on Hedera. It's going to be that way for the near future, but the future is multi-chain and composable. So this is how we think about our future strategy. And whatever the form of expansion looks like, the goal is to ensure that the Sauce token continues to support key protocol utility and alignment. So we don't want to overcomplicate things or fragment the experience, but just keep it foundational to the protocol.
Great, thanks for that, Peter. So these next set of questions are also related to Sauce. One is Sauce price movements are closely tied to H-bar performance. Is the team planning any strategies to help Sauce decouple and establish its own market behavior? Next one is, are there plans to introduce Sauce locking mechanisms or time lock staking to incentivize long-term holding, strengthen governance participation? Has the team considered implementing Sauce, a token burn mechanism to strengthen the value proposition for holders? Are there any plans to adjust the tokenomics of Sauce to make it more deflationary or to incentivize holding? And lastly, are there any plans to expand the utility of Sauce beyond governance, for example, fee rebates, boosted farming rewards, or exclusive access to new features? What new utilities are you planning for Sauce holders this year?
Okay, good questions. So let me take this in order. So the first one was about like VE Sauce kind of style tokenomics. So longer term staking mechanisms are models that have worked well for other platforms. We have also explored various fee incentive structures like yield boosts, protocol fee rebates for stakers, kind of time weighted governance, voting power. You have to be careful with complicating things too much. Web3 is already pretty complicated, and we actually really like the simplicity of our sauce staking mechanism. And I think the community and our users really like it as well. So we're being deliberate. Any change to tokenomics needs to be sustainable. It needs to be understandable, uh, especially with something that has many downstream effects. It needs to be audited and really thought through and grounded in actual user behavior, and not just engineered for kind of short-term goals. The same thing, in my opinion, goes for burn mechanics. Yes, we could integrate a burn mechanism. It would actually be pretty trivial to do so into the single-sided staking and buyback schema. Maybe trivial is not the right word, but it would be not too complicated. Whether it's wise to do that, though, is still up for debate. And we're not really planning to implement deflation just to chase a narrative. We're focused on earned utility, making sauce something users want because it gives them access to real value and utility inside the protocol. And just to put things in perspective, because there are a lot of different tokenomics models out there and everyone has a different theory about what works. If you look at the most dominant dexes in the space, like Uniswap, they do not rely on overly complex token models. Uni is a governance token. That's it. The point is, you don't need to over financialize everything. You just need to be strategic. So nothing's off the table. I'm not saying these are bad ideas, but nothing's being rushed either. And overall, we want to be deliberate and strategic with the tokenomics decisions.
Great. Thanks for those insights, Peter. So next question is, what concrete steps are being taken to increase TVL on Saucerswap? Are there any incentive programs or campaigns planned?
Yeah, so TVL is a lagging indicator. It follows real usage, and our focus is on driving volume, total number of trades, staking, and overall interaction. So when the infrastructure is fully optimized, liquidity usually comes where it's needed, and we're not in the early days, we were doing a lot of emissions, HBAR emissions through grants, a higher rate of sauce emissions to farms, and that was good for bootstrapping liquidity. Now we have transitioned more towards a real yield model. There are still token emissions to further incentivize liquidity. But for a sustainable platform, we need a system that attracts sticky capital through real usage. And at this stage, usage is the first mover. It's the one thing that solves every downstream challenge and unlocks sustainable growth. So we're not thinking so much in terms of incentive programs or campaigns. Those help. And there still are opportunities to have, for example, like HBAR boosted rewards in collaboration with like a grant foundation or something like that, especially if the market takes a downturn or something like that, and usage kind of decreases. But long term, what we need to do is increase usage. So that's what we're focused on.
Thanks for that, Peter. That pretty much kind of segues nicely into this two-part question about usage. Is there a rough timeline for when the community could expect a beta or first version of a Saucerswap mobile app? And what are the team's thoughts on improving the mobile experience? Would a mobile app help onboard more users?
Yeah. So improving the mobile experience is absolutely something we care about. And it's something we've put a lot of thought into, especially recently. Mobile UX is a critical part of onboarding new users, especially those outside of the existing Hedera native crowd. we don't have anything to announce at this time for the mobile app, but overall, we're exploring ways to improve accessibility and simplicity across devices. I know our mobile UX is a bit lacking right now, so we're working on that. And when there's something to share, we'll share it. And yeah, keep an eye out. Nothing to announce for the mobile app at this time.
Great, thanks for that, Peter. So this next question kind of touches back on what we were discussing a little bit earlier about multi-chain. Will Saucerswap aim to integrate the ecosystems beyond Hedera, such as Ethereum, Arbitrum, or Solana?
Yeah, this does touch on an earlier question about multi-chain, and I think it's like pretty well established that the future of DeFi is going to be multi-chain. And as a protocol, we've always believed Saucerswap should be composable by design. And this touches on kind of like the meta question before, about composability and optionality. And it's our position that our architecture should allow us to extend and not just scale. So our priority right now is to continue strengthening our position on Hedera, expanding core infrastructure, growing liquidity depth, making a stronger execution layer, better quotes, better trades. But every future expansion must be purposeful beyond that, not just additive. So we don't want to just like port our code to a new network and kind of do like a lazy multi-chain expansion. There are dexes that have done that in the past, and I won't name names, but it's just not really a great strategy. So when we expand, it'll be with a reason. We'll likely do it with a partner or a group of partners, and certainly a long-term strategy. So you'll know when it happens. Right now, we're focused on Hedera, but we will go multi-chain.
Great, thanks for that, Peter. So what are the team's marketing strategies to attract more users to SaucerSwap, especially outside of the Hedera community?
Yeah, it starts with the product, but the product alone doesn't drive adoption. So there has to be marketing as well. And over the last month, we have been rolling out a more intentional, layered content strategy. That means clearer X communications, and narrative cohesion, ecosystem engagement, interacting with our partners, giving visibility into what we're working on, and coordinating messaging with our partners. And we're also preparing for a broader campaign alongside our upcoming site redesign, which I mentioned we're targeting mid-May for that. So when that goes live, you'll see an intentional marketing push that goes beyond kind of the Hedera specific, social media marketing. And as always, we're playing a long game. We're not trying to just chase vanity metrics, but we want to build presence and resonance and trust at scale. So I think this last month we've done a pretty good job of posting more, but keeping the content like high quality as well. So we're always trying to balance those two things. And if you've liked that approach, please let us know. It's always helpful feedback. So, shoot us a message in Discord if it's been resonating with you.
Thanks for that, Peter. So this next question kind of switches gears a little bit from marketing multi-chain and into more of tokenomics. When will the 2024 Spring Incentives campaign allocation of HBAR run out? Are there any new grants expected?
Yeah, the current Spring Incentives campaign is scheduled to run, and I asked Marcus on our team to do a projection of this. I think it was actually, let me just check he did send me a DM. It was 87 days plus or minus a week. So about 3 months. As for future incentives after that, there is an opportunity for future incentives, and it doesn't need to end at that point in time. And we've had a strong partnership with the HBAR Foundation since our launch, before our launch. So for about 3 years. And we are actively continuing right now to explore ways to extend that alignment moving forward. We can't share details about what that conversation looks like right now, but we're focused on sustainability and growth. I know that's been the theme of the last few AMAs, but that really is our focus right now, and our goals to that end are absolutely aligned with those of the foundation. So there's an active dialogue going on now, and there's certainly opportunity for further collaboration.
Awesome sauce. So, what is the team's long-term vision for Saucerswap, especially compared to competitors, Cake Uni, on other L1s like Ethereum and Solana?
Yeah, very similar question, I think, to the meta narrative, I guess, question from earlier. So the long-term vision for Saucerswap is to be the definitive decentralized exchange infrastructure outside of Ethereum. That is our business plan. That's our goal. Starting with Hedera, we want to continue growing on the network, but we also want Saucerswap to be modular and composable and deeply integrated with the next era of cross-chain liquidity. So there's kind of two paths there. When we look at the space, we're not trying to recreate Uniswap or PancakeSwap. They were built in an era where the base layer and the AMM were kind of disconnected from everything else. They were permissionless, but they were isolated. So we're building for something different. We want Saucerswap to be embedded into a broader economic landscape, and fully interoperable with the underlying network. We want it to be optimized for throughput on every network that it may be deployed on, aligned with ecosystem growth at the protocol level. And what we've built so far on Hedera and will continue to build is the standard for any kind of cross-chain infrastructure. For example, if we just ported our code to Ethereum, it would not be consistent with the Saucerswap brand and what we've built on Hedera. We're not just a front end. We're not just an AMM. We are infrastructure. And our goal is to become the backbone of DeFi wherever the next wave of real users land.
Thanks for that, Peter. Next question is, are there any strategic partnerships in the pipeline to expand the Saucerswap ecosystem?
There are, yeah. We don't announce partnerships until they're live. We're constantly in conversations with other projects building across DeFi infrastructure and onboarding layers, both within Hedera and on other networks. Our view is that integrations and not just listings, or kind of superficial partnerships are the future of real value. So one of those things would be like Axelar. That is like a hugely valuable partnership. So that's what we're interested in is those kind of real integrations that users can interact with and feel, not just an announcement on social media. So when they're ready to be announced, those partnerships will speak for themselves.
Great. Switching gears a little bit, Are there any plans to introduce the Sauce launch pool or staking program where users can earn new tokens by staking the Sauce token?
Yeah, this is a community pools question, which is consistent with a Saucerswap AMA. Would not be a Saucerswap AMA without a community pools question. So in community pools, users stake sauce, receive XSauce, then stake XSauce in community pools, also known as launch pools on other networks, to earn tokens from partner projects. It's been in the plans for a while. Other priorities have consistently taken precedence. We still plan to roll it out, but don't expect it for at least a few months.
Thanks for that. This is a two-part question for you. Oh no, actually, this question is for me, so I'll just say it out loud and answer it. So, how does the tariffs current or postponed U.S. or retaliatory impact the merch store? Is there any chance we'll see Sauce merchandise with our Discord name embroidered available in the near future? Okay, so I'll go ahead and answer this because I am leading the merch store. Thanks for this question. So, as Peter mentioned in our previous AMAs and this AMA, we're undergoing a brand refresh. So once we have the new logo and designs finalized, we'll revamp the merch store and update our offerings to reflect our new brand assets. Um, and in terms of how the tariffs will impact the merch store, we use a third party to produce the merch on demand. And so with that, we have a set percentage that we charge on top of the production costs that we are charged by the supplier. So this pretty much just allows us to break even, and we're not really making any money from that. So it allows us to break even so that we can continue maintaining the Shopify website and pay for these Shopify subscriptions. So if it comes down to the production costs that may change from our supplier, then the price of our merch will have to reflect that accordingly. Um, and then the second part is in terms of having users Discord name embroidered on merch, that may be a little bit of a challenge since we're using a third-party supplier. But I mean, it's definitely something that I can look into to see if it's a possibility or if there are other suppliers that would do that. And also, if anyone has any ideas that they'd like to see in the store, like a design or merch item, just feel free to drop it in our general Discord or create a support ticket and tag me. So thanks for that. Um, okay, so this next question, this one's for Peter. As a power user, the DEX is missing key features such as limit orders, split routes, auto slippage, etc. Can you kind of enlighten us on what is the progress on those items?
Yes, absolutely agreed. We are missing those features. They are essential features for a truly, excuse me, robust trading experience, and they've been a high priority internally. We have made good progress architecting our limit order system. As I mentioned before, it's already in the design and spec stage. That system, along with our updated router, which will follow, are being designed in parallel to handle the best execution logic, including split routing and auto slippage handling, which would all be native to Saucerswap. So our goal there is to have not just the most liquid contracts on the network, but the best interface to interact with those contracts on the network. We're building those carefully. We're building them to last, not as bolt-ons, but as fully integrated features of our core smart contract stack. As I mentioned, right now, our smart contract focuses on the ERC20 integration. After ERC20, our next move is limit orders and the updated router. So expect real movement there soon.
Thanks for that, Peter. So what can the team do to limit the impact of accounts or posts that spread misleading or outright false information?
Yeah, I don't I'm not sure exactly what this question is referencing. Not sure if something happened on social media, but I'll answer generally. We lead with transparency and let the product and project speak for themselves. When there is outright misinformation, and it does happen, we'll correct it directly through AMAs, social media, or wherever the conversation is happening. We also encourage the community to hold us accountable. That's part of the reason we do these monthly AMAs, to earn and maintain trust. Strong ecosystems are built on it. So, yeah, we overall we just try to be transparent, and if you do see something Renaissance, I think that was the user who asked this, that looks like just false information, feel free to create a support ticket or tag one of our team members, and we'll look into it.
Thanks, Peter. This next question pretty much kind of touches on the thesis of this AMA multi-chain marketing. How does the team plan to improve visibility and attract more DeFi users who are currently on Ethereum, Solana, Arbitrum, or other networks?
Yeah, I have an answer for this. I think we have touched on this a few times though in the same A, so maybe I'll just give like a very abridged answer. It's basically what we talked about before. It's we want to build foundational infrastructure. You know, there's some protocol upgrades that we're currently working on to that end, like the ERC20 support, UX enhancements, and eventually multi-chain. But I think just another important part of this answer is that the HBAR Foundation will play a massive role, and I would say a leading role, in attracting users from other networks. Um, our job, of course, we want to attract DeFi users to Saucerswap specifically, but the kind of larger aim is to attract them to Hedera, and then once they come to the network, we can delight them with the best DeFi experience once they land on the network. So there's work that we can do. We're currently doing it for greater accessibility and composability, but there's also kind of just ecosystem work that needs to be done.
Great, thanks for that. This next question is, are there any plans to introduce features like perpetuals, lending, or options trading on SaucerSwap to drive more usage?
Lending, no, that's not on our roadmap. It's already being handled well by other protocols in the ecosystem, and we don't believe in duplicating functionality just for the sake of it. We prefer to integrate with existing verticals, especially if they're being handled well, which I think they are, and there's no reason to compete. Perpetuals, on the other hand, are on the roadmap. It's something we believe we can execute at a high level, and when we launch it, it will meet the same standards of performance and UX we apply to everything else we build. No confirmed timeline yet on that one. I believe it's in the future column on our roadmap. But it's in scope, and when it comes, it will be natively integrated and aligned with the rest of the stack.
Alrighty, next question is, now that HIP 991 allows using Sauce as a fee token, what are the team's plans to actively incentivize its use?
So just to clarify, HIP 991 allows for custom fees on the Hedera consensus service topics, similar to how custom fees work with HTS tokens, but it does not allow Sauce to be used for paying base network fees. Those will still be an HBAR. That said, HIP 911 is an important infrastructure improvement for projects building with HCS. We build a little bit with HCS for our governance, but our contracts and kind of all the nuts and bolts of the DEX functionality don't use HTS. So projects that work with messaging and coordination on chain primitives using the consensus service, HIP 991 is definitely a good step forward. it does not change how Saucerswap functions today, but it is a step forward for kind of broader composability on Hedera. And if it leads to another improvement proposal that allows for using HTS tokens as paying for paying base network fees, that would be pretty interesting. But right now that's just not the reality of it.
Okay, thanks for that clarification. So this next question is about the new Saucerswap website. I know you touched base on it a little bit earlier, but I'll just go ahead and ask you this. Is there a timeline for when the Saucerswap website will be revamped to reflect a more mature and refined design?
Yep, touched on this one as well. So just to save everyone some time, we're targeting mid-May for the launch.
Okay, so switching gears a little bit, can you partner with Dovu and make a new challenge to get some Dovu tokens? I remember there was a proposal on Dovu's governance, but it didn't pass, according to one of the users that submitted a question.
That's definitely something Dovu can propose again if they're interested. For example, another Larry style Saucerswap version 2 incentives campaign. We're always open to collaboration, and Dovu is a very close partner of ours. We trust their judgment completely when it comes to initiating campaigns or community incentives. So if they bring something forward through the governance process that aligns with what we're building, we'd be more than happy to support it.
Awesome sauce. Next question is, do you see Bonzo and H Suite as competitors? And what do you think about their product offering?
When it comes to other Hedera projects, we have the privilege to be the leading DEX on the network. And with that privilege comes a responsibility to be collaborators. For that reason, we don't really think in terms of competition. We think in terms of ecosystem growth. Bonzo, for example, is a lending protocol that we actively partner with, and we're excited to see them keep building out that vertical on Hedera. It's complementary to what we're doing. It's not conflicting. And in my mind, we're not competing. As for H Suite, they've built a DEX-like product that's taken a different approach. And we're always supportive of other teams building on Hedera, especially ones that are trying to expand the range of use cases. Everyone contributes in their own way, and what matters most is real value and real usage over time. So our focus remains on liquidity depth, capital efficiency, execution quality, user experience, and we're confident that what we're building will continue to lead the market by those metrics.
Thanks for that, Peter. This next question is more geared towards tokenomics. Are the net sauce buybacks greater than the distributions?
At this stage, no, they're not. Our buyback mechanism is dynamic and it's based on protocol volume, but emissions at this point in time still outpace net repurchases right now. That said, this next phase of our growth is all about sustainability. That's driving volume, growing revenue, tightening protocol loops, and extending our runway in a delta positive direction quarter over quarter. We're at the stage of the business cycle where the gravy train is ending. We're already on the runway. We're approaching liftoff velocity. And the truth here is that even in Web3, the same business mechanics apply. Every project, whether it's a crypto project or a traditional business, whether it's on Hedera or another network, will face that reality eventually. And we're not shying away from it. We see the numbers, we see our trajectory, and we're full steam ahead toward a flywheel that builds value upon value through real usage. So as our product stack matures over the next few months, and you will see it mature with valuable features, and as our user base continues to expand, you'll see that shift happen naturally. We're playing a long game. Emissions only last for so long, but if you can build a flywheel of usage that is sustainable and can go on indefinitely, that's the system we're building. We want something that can sustain itself.
Thanks for that, Peter. So this next question, I'll just go ahead and answer it. A user asked, can the team do a better job with YouTube channel? AMA videos are uploaded months later. I'll take this question. So I actually lead the AMA videos uploading. And also thanks for bringing this to our attention. So we've been building a lot in the background, and I'll be more diligent in uploading the AMA videos in the future. This next one is for Peter. Will Saucerswap be at Consensus 2025?
Yes, we will. We'll be there to meet builders, users, and potential partners face to face and represent Hedera in the process. It's in Toronto this year, so that's quite convenient for some of our team in North America. And yeah, we're excited to meet other builders doing cool stuff, DeFi tooling, infrastructure, anything else. So if you're out there, hit us up, send us a message in Discord, and we can meet up.
Yes, Consensus. We'll have merch there too. So if you guys stop by and talk to us, that'd be great. This next one is from Celestial Being, and he's wondering, how is your trip to Japan, Peter? Has the Saucerswap team made any impactful connections?
It's been a great trip. I'm actually still here. I got up at 4:30 in the morning to do this AMA. And I've had some excellent meetings as we scope out the potential actually to open up a regional arm of Saucerswap in Japan and grow our presence through a local subsidiary. So that's part of the reason I'm out here. I'm also scheduled to do a live interview next week. And I have met a few influencers, Japanese influencers here to see if we can grow our presence as well. There's been some real energy building around Hedera abroad. And a key part of our growth strategy is tapping into the markets here in Japan and in Korea, both of which have active and rapidly growing Web3 ecosystems. Of course, we have our lovely community manager for Korea, Kimchi, who's been doing a great job. We're hoping to have some more boots on the ground marketing here in Japan and Korea specifically. So it's good to be a small part of that growing ecosystem now. Our intention is to become a large part of it soon.
Thanks for that, Peter. So that pretty much wraps up all the questions. Huge thanks to everyone who submitted. Special shout out to DeFi Alien for bringing the heat with most of today's questions. And it wouldn't be an AMA without a Dog Star Award. So as always, we'll be awarding our Dog Star Prize to a standout community member who's gone above and beyond in contributing to Saucerswap, being proactive, being positive. So this month, we're thrilled to recognize Kimura for their continued support and positive impact on the community. Keep the momentum going. Thank you so much for that. And thanks to everyone who joined us for this month's AMA, and we'll see you soon in the next one.
Yeah, thanks to everyone who submitted questions. As always, we really appreciate the engagement and honesty. We'll keep building and keep shipping and keep showing up. We'll also keep up with the communication. It seems like it's been well received on social media. If you had a question for us that we weren't able to get to during this AMA, please feel free to tag us in Discord. We'll circle back post AMA. So have a great rest of your weekend, everyone. Thanks again. We're just getting started. Take care.